Well, good morning, everybody. We're just starting in a few minutes. We're just doing the countdown timer at the moment while we just settle down and get into today's live stream. Hope you're going to join us. I'm just waiting for the live to come up right now. Oh, and here I am. Super. Let's just get that online so I can see what's going on, see the comments. Fantastic. Oh, and I've got to turn the volume down as well. Okie dokie. So I've got Tilly Davis with us today, and we'll be there in the background very shortly. I've just seen some people joining. Wow, we've got some big crowd already. My gosh. Okay, super. Hope you're liking the music, folks. This is music by, well, it's by my Uncle Peter, and it's called A Minor Blues. So he recorded this, and I loved it, and I've claimed it as as my background music for live streaming. So my Uncle Peter's very happy with that. So that's that. So yeah, we're almost there. So here we go. So we'll just mute the volume. Well, hello. So good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear us okay. Yeah, welcome to everybody. Captain Scarlett in the background. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, folks, look, it's a Tuesday morning here in the UK, and it's just after 8:45 a.m. Almost said PM then a.m. And we are live, and we're streaming out on LinkedIn. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube and Twitter all at the same time. It's like groovy technology. It's amazing how that lot happens. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this week's Leaders Live Breakfast Show. We've got Tilly Davis on this morning. We'll come on to her in a moment. But just a quick teaser before we come to Tilly. Do you think, as a business leader, LinkedIn is a waste of time for you? Or are you skeptical of the wild LinkedIn sales promises and the hyperbole claiming a way to the promised land with little evidence? Yeah. And isn't LinkedIn just full of digital marketeers, coaches and recruiters anyway, and bombarding your message box with too good to be true sales pitches, right? And despite all of this, is it possible that you have a sort of background feeling in the back of your head that you might be missing out on something not using LinkedIn? Is there a way, for example, to use LinkedIn more intelligently to influence and deliver better sales too? And if all that lot was possible, how would we go about proving this, folks? So we'll be getting to all this in the next 30 minutes with the awesome Tilly Davis. Hi, Tilly. Great to have you on the Leaders Live Breakfast Show this morning.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, likewise. Yes, we've got a few comments already in the feed. And folks, look, listen, I'll come back to Tilly just in a moment. Well, actually, before I do that, let me just introduce her. So, introduction for Tilly. Just get rid of that screen. There's a screen which has come up, which is very distracting. Here we go. So, introduction. So, Tilly is the CEO of Marketing CX in South Africa. And Tilly and her team deliver done-for LinkedIn services and coaching buddy programs too. For business executives to increase sales opportunities by 45%. So that's her LinkedIn strapline, and her strapline also says that she's an expert on LinkedIn, on social selling, on business growth, on lead generation, and Sales Navigator. So we'll get straight to the topic with Tilly and all things LinkedIn in a quick second. Just want to say, look, we've been building a lively crowd over the last few weeks on the weekly Leaders Live Breakfast Show. As always, please interact as you're doing already. Ask questions in the comments and we'll pick them up, hopefully. And please let me know if our audio is coming through too okay. That will be really useful for us. Thank you. Andy Dobson here says, always skeptical, which I quite like, actually. It's healthy to be skeptical, Andy Dobson. Brilliant. Okay. So let's come back to Tilly right now. I'll just get rid of this comment here. Let's dig into this fascinating subject, this topic, Tilly. Set the scene for us. Give us some headline stats. Kick us off, Tilly. What is it about LinkedIn? Give us some stats around LinkedIn.
Andrew, I started in LinkedIn 15 years ago. And in the beginning of the LinkedIn days, and those of you that joined me in those early days, LinkedIn had a number of technical challenges in the beginning. Yeah, and it was quite frustrating in the beginning, but it has grown to a very, very powerful marketing tool.
Right.
Now, since I used LinkedIn in 2012 to build a company here in South Africa called Call Center Hub.
Okay.
And that is really when I discovered the power of it. Now, since, as you said, 2015, we started Marketing CX focusing on showing people and helping people to tap into this power. You know, currently, worldwide, America is still the number one user of
All right.
LinkedIn, but UK is the fifth user,
Okay.
largest users
Largest
of
user.
LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know
you
that.
know, it is so big in the UK currently that 14% of LinkedIn users in the UK access their LinkedIn accounts more than once a day. So it's a huge, huge opportunity for people to tap into LinkedIn today. And especially in the day where we live in now, offline sales is not that possible anymore. So
Yeah.
since the pandemic, more and more businesses are discovering the power of LinkedIn and how it really can grow your business with ease and very cost effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I started using LinkedIn when it was first invented in 2003, and people were saying, "Is it really worth it?" I said, "Well, give it a chance. It's going to take a few years to build traction." I really saw LinkedIn gain traction around 2011, 2012, a bit like you actually,
Yeah,
and started to see it leapfrog into something that was really, really useful.
yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a great fan, and I'm accessing LinkedIn all the time. I do all my marketing through LinkedIn, but we'll come on to that. But look, as Andy Dobson says, it's good to be skeptical, always skeptical, says Andy. Um, let's not dance around our handbags here. Isn't LinkedIn still just a glorified resume in a place where salespeople just bombard you with "buy my stuff"? What say you, Tilly?
Definitely not.
Definitely
There's
not. But she
definitely
would
not.
say that, wouldn't she?
I have seen, as you said in the introduction, Andrew, we use LinkedIn and we offer a LinkedIn Done For You service for our clients. And generating on leads on LinkedIn to grow your business is very easy and it's very powerful because instead of using your profile as a resume like most people do, we use the profile to position you as a thought leader
Yeah.
so that people start building a know, like, trust relationship with you,
Yeah.
so that people can understand what is in it for them. Most people that go into LinkedIn make the mistake of wanting to position themselves. I am the CEO. I am, the CEO of this large company, and I can offer you all of these things. And it's not about you on LinkedIn, it's about them. So the minute that you can start building relationships that is based on know, like, and trust principles, you start building very powerful relationships. At the end of the day, people buy from people. So your LinkedIn profile is almost as powerful, if not more powerful, than your website because
Right.
that gives you the opportunity to position yourself in such a way that people can see and understand how they can benefit from not only connecting with you on LinkedIn and building relationships, but ultimately using your services and products.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not about me, and my message. It's about connecting and trying to make a connection with other people. Is that what you're saying, Tilly?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where the challenge comes in for a lot of people, and that is understanding your target audience, your ideal client, or like some people in the marketing sphere would call an avatar.
Yeah.
You need to understand what it is that they're looking for.
Okay. So from their point of view, right?
It's from their point of view.
Yeah.
So it's not what you want to say, it's what they want to hear.
Okay. So you need to work out what it is in the mind of your customers that you're trying to reach. Andy Dobson says here, send a request, connection request get, accept, send marketing message. I mean, I think Andy's probably using that as a, that's where his skepticism is. How many of us find that, as soon as we accept a message, the next thing we get is a marketing message, say, buy my stuff, right? And you're
That is a
saying, don't do that.
This is the typical scenario, Andy,
Yeah.
where people are focused on themselves
Right.
and they're just focusing on getting their message out. So they
Yeah.
don't care about anybody else. They don't care to get to know you
Yeah.
and get to know what it is that you're looking for. They don't qualify you. And that normally happens at the profile stage, because if you don't optimize your profile, you
Right.
attract the wrong audience. And by attracting the wrong audience, the only other way now is to start spamming people because your
Yeah.
profile is not working for you. So that is why it is so important, Andrew, that a lot of emphasis in LinkedIn happens within the profile and how it has been set up.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some comments coming through here just quickly while just getting some interaction from some of the audience. 4 messages from different people from the same pensions booking company. Yeah, I mean, we do get a lot of spam, right? I think that's what Andy's saying. But, we can be better than that. And the key is just to rise above that. But that doesn't mean it's not a bad platform. It just means people are using it badly, but other people are using it correctly. Is that what you're suggesting, Tilly?
If you use LinkedIn in the right way,
Yeah,
and you position yourself in the right way,
yeah,
you can build very, very strong relationships. Now, there's always a word of caution that I give people. And this is, I think, what Andy is also alluding to. You
yeah.
can damage your brand. You can
Right.
actually damage your personal as well as your business brand on LinkedIn
Mm,
by acting in a spammy way, by
yeah,
coming across as desperate. People that send out spam messages, and I call it buy my stuff messages,
buy my stuff.
they're desperate. Yeah,
Yeah,
buy my stuff. Please buy my stuff. They come across as desperate, and it's damaging your brand. And
yeah.
you actually need to do the opposite on LinkedIn. You should use the platform to really introduce yourself as a thought leader through your profile, but then use your page to introduce your business as a brand leader.
Right. Okay. So there's some interesting stuff coming up here. And just before we do that, Keith Office says, give without expectation. So we'll come back to what you just said in a moment. But Keith's got a really interesting point here. Give away. Don't take. Give. Right. And then that way, you build. You earn the right, I guess, Tilly.
Yeah, you earn the right. It is, I always advise my clients, give so much value for
Yeah.
free away that people will look at it and say, well, if you can give me so much for free, imagine what I'm going to get if I pay for your services. And that is always the principle that I believe on LinkedIn as the social media
Mm-hmm.
platform, that you should follow. First, educate them, first inform them, first
Right.
serve them,
Yeah.
and give them as much as what you possibly can to strengthen the relationship before you even reach out with anything remotely saying buy my stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Google is just like a big garage, isn't it? In a sense, you could just get any information anywhere, anytime, free of charge, right? But that's just information and data. What we're doing here is taking that information and stepping it up a little bit of a level. So, we're turning that information into a little bit more knowledge. We're applying it in different ways. And that's where it becomes more important, where it then has more of an impact, because that's where the thought leader piece comes in here. It's not just about bombarding with information and buy my stuff, right? And,
You know,
I
the
go on, Tilly.
main principle, Andrew,
Mm.
is selling does not happen on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that
And
as well.
yeah,
Selling doesn't happen on LinkedIn, folks. Yeah.
it doesn't. You use LinkedIn to build a relationship, and as soon as the
Ah,
person is ready, and the person is not ready when you push them ready. The
yeah.
person is ready when he says, "Tell me more. I need more
Tell me
information."
more. Yeah.
Then you take it offline. You get him into a Zoom call, a Meet call, or outside of LinkedIn, and that is where this actual sale takes place. That is where the sales presentation is going to happen. The sales presentation doesn't happen in LinkedIn.
No.
Your purpose on LinkedIn is purely to find your ideal client, to start building relationships with them. And this is what marketing CX stands for. Marketing starts with the customer experience starts with marketing. So you have to, in LinkedIn, when you start building these relationships, focus on building a very strong customer experience in the marketing phase.
I like that customer experience. So just to sum up, just very quickly here. So you said, I'm just written a few things down as you were talking there. So LinkedIn isn't a selling platform; it's a relationship building platform, folks. It's about tell me about how you can help me, and then take the conversation offline, where you then build the customer relationship to a sale. Oh, I see your marketing CX stuff is starting to come through. I don't know
I
how
was
that's
wondering
happening, but there we are. This is live, baby. So it might be some networking bandwidth issues there. So I think what I'm picking up that look, LinkedIn is more than just a sales platform. This is a great place to learn from others. Firstly, it's a great place to network, obviously, and networking is a key part of this. It isn't just about buy my stuff. It's about networking. It's about sharing expertise, creating content and sharing that, and helping others helping others. And by doing that, you earn the right to then take it a stage further and see your personal brand as an extension. And you said this earlier, of your company page. So let's go there, because that's important. So there's quite often a number of us may be thinking about the same thing, is that company page any good? Because it doesn't seem to get any traction at all. But what you're saying is build your brand through your personal profile, and then talk to us about the company page, Tilly. What's going on there?
Well, the whole idea is, and this is a system that I developed right from the beginning. LinkedIn, in actual fact, works like a funnel.
Right.
So when you open your LinkedIn account, you get a profile, and the purpose of the profile, as I said, is to build yourself, or to position yourself as a thought leader,
Yeah.
to position yourself as an expert that people can trust. Once
Trust.
they've built that relationship with you, once they get to the point where they know who you are, people buy from people. People don't buy from a business.
Yeah.
So once they have got that relationship with you, you then introduce them to your business, which is your LinkedIn company page.
Mm.
And the whole purpose of your LinkedIn company page is to position your business as a brand leader.
Okay. That's interesting. And
So the,
what's
the company page, Andrew,
yeah.
almost backs you up as the thought leader by saying, I'm a thought leader, but I am part of a very, very strong brand which is positioned on my page.
Yeah.
Now, where in your profile you are going to focus on one relationships and adding value to your ideal client, in your page, you're going to build relationships from a business perspective. So the message on your page is more what your business can do for them. But
Ah.
again, it is what your business can do for them. It is not my products is this and my services is this and it's Black Friday sale and those kind of messages. We do not sell on LinkedIn. You
Okay.
need to position your business where they can understand what are they going to get if they do engage with your business. How much is customer experience and those kind of things? What is the value of those? Things like what is the structures in your business? Who's your team? And those kind of things is what you talk about on your page.
Right. So more business related things, are not selling products and brands, but more about what your business can do, what it does. You're not advertising necessarily. You're having a conversation about your business. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but basically, this is the one opportunity, and there is no other opportunity like this in the online world where you can give your
Ah.
business a personality.
That's really nice. I like the way you said that. So your company page gives your business a personality. That's really interesting. Now, Joari says, I can't pronounce your name very well here. Apologies if I haven't pronounced it correctly. But we can't all be brand leaders, right? Some are simply better than others. What say you, Tilly?
Uh, I can also not pronounce your name properly. I come from South Africa. If that is an excuse,
It's very
you are
German.
a brand leader
Yeah.
within your own right. I have got a
Ah,
philosophy in my business. There's a lot of LinkedIn specialists. And so on, each one of us is different and have a different offering and is a leader in our own right.
you're a leader
There
in your
is
own
no
right.
competition.
Okay.
There is no competition. And the thing is, and this is what makes LinkedIn beautiful,
Mm.
because there is no competition. I can be a leader in my own right. And I can have another LinkedIn specialist standing next to me being a leader in their right. Uh, because we
Yeah.
all have our own strengths and our own weaknesses. And we all have our own ideal clients and avatars. There are um, clients out there that will not use my services or will prefer another LinkedIn specialist. And because the playing field in LinkedIn is so vast and there's so many people out
And
there,
growing,
well,
right? Yeah.
there is no competition. I mean, how many clients can you have? All of them LinkedIn?
Very good. How many clients can you have? Probably a lot of us will probably say we want actually more clients. And Yuri's just given us an indication of how to spell it, how to say his name. So Yuri, and he's Dutch. So thanks, Yuri, for those insights and questions too. There was another one coming through here. Yeah, Phil Coltman says, and that's where recommendations are so important.
Exactly. Now, this is beautiful, and Phil, I'm glad you brought that up because this is one of the strengths in LinkedIn is the recommendations in
Right.
your profile. Because testimonials and references is frowned upon today. Because a lot of people would put testimonials on their websites and so on, and it's their brother and their sister and their family that's trying to get their business to go.
Yeah. Oops.
Where recommendations in LinkedIn play
Yeah.
such a huge role is you can actually go and see who is the person that recommended you. Now, you can think if you target a specific industry and you have got a lot of recommendations in that industry, those recommendations can be validated and it can be proven as true. And at the same time, you can even reach out to the people that recommended you, if I'm the third party, and say, I see you recommended Tilly.
Yeah.
What exactly is it about Tilly that you enjoyed? And this is why spamming, treating your LinkedIn account as a resume, then become totally obsolete and it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Because if you keep that business momentum going where people can vouch for you,
Yeah.
um, it makes it so strong. And that is why the sales cycle is normally a lot shorter if you use LinkedIn as your marketing tool, because everything is to your potential client's exposure. He can do a whole background check on you just on LinkedIn to see if you are indeed the supplier he's looking for.
Yeah. And there's been a few comments on if nothing changes. People buy from people. Yeah, same thing with the recommendations, right? Also, happily get people in touch with any people who need a recommendation, who recommend me. So you can pass that on, can't you? And I've had business from people who have looked at my recommendations on my LinkedIn profile and then given me a call. So, oh, so and so knows you, and yeah, and that's why I'm giving you a call. So recommendations really powerful. And so don't ignore that, folks. And always reach out to visitors on my page, says Phil Coltman as well, which is a useful thing. We might come back to that, Phil. Another thing that Syed just mentioned, which I want to touch on actually, he talks about this thing about social selling here. Let me come on to that now then. So, look, there's a term and a principle called social selling that's bandied about in LinkedIn, and it's been around probably since about 2015. What exactly is social selling? How can we leverage our social selling in LinkedIn to build relationships and grow our personal brand? Does it really work, Tilly?
Well, social selling as a concept in itself is basically just the sales process to build relationships.
Okay. So it's not selling,
It,
it's building relationships.
It's building relationships.
Yeah,
It's part of the sales process to build relationships. And that is why we always say your first focus on LinkedIn is to build that relationship.
yeah,
And the one thing that stands out in LinkedIn with regards to social selling and building the relationships is you've got to have a structure.
right.
You've got to have a system and you
Structure.
need to understand what you are aiming for. If you have no plan, any road will take you there. So at the end of the day, you need to know if you find your ideal client and you want to start building this relationship, you need to know what is the end goal and
Yeah,
you need to understand what is the process you're going to follow to get to that end goal. And this is where I'm talking about the funnel that we use. We always reach out to the connection, introduce him to our profile, welcome him. And then from the welcome, we introduce him to content, some giveaways we give him. And once we've gone through that process, we introduce him to our page. We've got a process around our page, and from there we send him to our group, which becomes our online community where we deepen the relationship. So, most important, if you talk about social selling, Andrew, is you've got to understand what you want to achieve out of LinkedIn and how you're going to get there.
yeah,
Otherwise, what I find, and this is where a lot of the spammers become so visible, they have no structure. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't follow a specific system to say, I want to have this relationship, and this is how I'm going to establish it. So it's not a social media platform where you're just going to say, well, I had bacon and eggs for breakfast. It's a social media platform where you are going to reach out to your ideal client as you're building the relationship with a goal in mind with every touch point.
okay.
And on that, LinkedIn statistics reveal there's 17 touch points
17
before the
touch points, folks. Right.
before you actually get a person to say, I'm interested.
Yeah, that's a lot of
So
touch points, right? But that could be 17 posts, for example.
there could be 17 posts, but it
Okay.
takes on average 17 touch points with your connection before they actually start moving.
Yeah, that's
A
interesting, that.
lot of a lot of people on LinkedIn are onlookers. So
Yeah,
what they do is they watch you. I've had it so many times that someone will suddenly reach out to me, and when I look at his profile, I can see we connected 2, 3 years ago, and suddenly he's talking to me. And when we take it offline and we have the conversation, he can almost verbatim tell me what I've posted, what I've said, what I've given away. He's been
yeah,
watching me
yeah,
over a period of time. So that is the other mistake people make. They're only looking for people that talk to them.
yeah.
Uh, but remember, there's a lot of people that's watching you. So protect your brand
I really
when
like
you
that, Tilly.
that out.
That whole thing about lots of people watching. It's I always liken LinkedIn a bit like it's a moving parade. Everybody comes to watch the parade. Not everybody gets involved with the parade, but loads of people watch it, right? And the trouble is
Yeah,
the parade keeps moving, so you've got to keep moving with it. So you've got to have touch points along the way. Otherwise, if you had a touch point 2 weeks ago, well, that parade's moved on since then. So you've
yeah,
got to keep up with the parade, right?
yeah.
I've got a Facebook user here saying great facts. Oh, thank you. So Facebook comments are coming through as well. That's brilliant. Saeed, now that's a really interesting comment. Let me just pop this up here. Now, I've often wondered this, Tilly. Answer this for us. Sales Navigator for a start off. Is it a useful tool? And there's this thing in Sales Navigator called a social selling index as a magic key metric to improve relationship building. Is it really? Is it worth anything? What say you again, Tilly?
It's key.
It's key,
It,
right?
it's key. Without your social selling index, and this is where LinkedIn is beautiful, it shows you exactly how to build your LinkedIn account so that you gain the successes that you aim for. So LinkedIn, the social selling index, is basically built on 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars is really around showing you where the problem areas are. Now, the one pillar will show you, are you building relationships? In other words, are you connecting with the right people? Are you going out and finding the right people, or are you just haphazardly connect with anybody there is?
Yeah.
And they will give you a score. Now, the social selling index works out of 100, and you get a score of 25 for each of them. So if you monitor your social selling index and you look at each one of the pillars, and each one of them has got a huge role, it will show you, are you building relationships? Are you engaging enough? Are you reaching out with the right content? All of those pillars will guide you. And at the end of the day, just by following your social selling index, you know exactly where to go and what to do to fix what is broken. So if you're not getting enough engagement, for instance, you can look at your social selling index and say, well, I'm building the wrong relationships. My target audience is not working for me because the content I'm putting out and the connection I'm connecting with is totally out of sync. Then the people I'm sending content to is not interested in what I'm saying. And your social selling index is actually going to show you exactly and pinpoint it for you to the T. To answer the question around Sales Navigator, because your social selling index is either for LinkedIn or Sales Navigator, it's a LinkedIn tool that you use.
Right.
But Sales Navigator, to me personally, is a cannot do without.
Really? It's
If
quite
you use,
expensive.
it is expensive, Andrew, but if you think about it, it's a CRM.
Right.
It's a customer relationship management tool that you have.
True.
And the beauty of Sales Navigator is you can now manage your relationship marketing process on LinkedIn. You know exactly where you are and what is the next steps by using Sales Navigator. Um, that to me is key. Most people look at the fact that Sales Navigator will give you a more deeper search into your ideal client, which is true. You get a lot more search filters in Sales Navigator. We use Sales Navigator mainly because it helps us to manage the relationships we are building. We know when a person says, look, you've been sending me 3 or 4 messages over the last 3 months. I really don't want any more. I can exclude him and I can say, okay, I'm not going to market to him anymore because he asked me not to. Or a person can come in and I can know that at this point I have introduced him to my content. My next step is he needs to go to my page.
Right.
Now I can follow him and see what he does and at what stage will he be ready. So it is a management tool of your LinkedIn activities, bar none.
Interesting that. And what would be a good social index score? Because it seems very hard to get, high scores these days. I mean, I used to have scores of sort of 80 or 90, and those are really hard to get now. Is it a LinkedIn sort of cranking down on that, or what's going on with the social selling index?
They are cranking down because they're trying to get people to stop spamming people.
Right.
So we used to aim for about a 90% score.
Yeah.
I would say if you have around a 75% social selling index score on LinkedIn, you've got a very good active LinkedIn account that should generate you leads at will.
That's really useful. That's 75%, folks. I just noticed your marketing CX has just eventually come through, so it must have been a networking issue. Yeah, Tilly's coming all the way from South Africa today, so it's beaming over various bounce points, I guess. So yeah, welcome to your branding there in the background. It's kind of fading a bit in and out as we're speaking. So there we go. Okay. So actually, Tilly, we're coming to a natural end shortly, but let me just. So what's changing and trending in LinkedIn that we need to pay attention to next?
Well, there's a couple of changes that happened over the last 6 months. It's really affecting a lot of people in LinkedIn because
Yeah,
what they used to do doesn't work anymore. I
right.
think some of the major algorithm changes was around content. LinkedIn is really focused on creating a platform where you can find valuable content. You must remember that
Valuable content.
LinkedIn is not only just for selling, it's also for learning because you can learn a lot about your ideal client and your competitors by reading their articles and
Yeah.
trends in your industry and so on. So, content has been a major focus. Recent changes was the limitation on only being able to invite 100 um, new connections per week, which makes it
On your company
a
page,
little
right?
bit, it's a little bit more difficult. But what it's done, and especially we've seen it in marketing CX, is we're far more focused on reaching out and connecting with the right people, so we can keep a conversion rate of about 70%. So we don't waste our 100 connections a week. Um, and those are the two major changes. Some of the other changes has been there. I mean, stories has been there for a while.
Yeah.
Currently, you can expect about 100 people to engage on your story. That's about average what we're looking for. So it's not taking off as well as what LinkedIn hoped it would, because I can get 10,000, 20,000 views on a post where I can only get 100 on the story, for instance.
Yeah.
Events is the next step in LinkedIn, and you'll see a lot of this coming in. LinkedIn is focusing and looking at virtual events, integration, and all of those kind of things. So the next biggie that's coming in LinkedIn is going to be a focus on events. And
That's interesting.
events events is quite useful in LinkedIn for lead generation.
Mm.
So if you want to generate leads quickly, host an event on LinkedIn.
Yeah, like I'm
Uh,
doing right now. This is a LinkedIn event. It's the first time I've done it through an event. So, yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Someone from Facebook has just said, what's the number one tip engaging LinkedIn with potential customers?
What is
That's a big question.
that we can actually start this whole leaders live session just on that
Yeah,
question.
exactly. Yeah,
The most important thing in engaging with other LinkedIn users is being targeted. It is no use, you see a lot of people
mm,
that will engage with emotional stuff, quotes, Richard Branson stuff, or so on.
yeah,
Um, don't waste time. If you're on LinkedIn to build relationships, go and find your ideal clients' content. Engage on their content. Ask them questions. When you engage, always end with a question. Don't just go and say, oh, this was a nice post, I appreciate it. Make sure they understood that you actually read it.
okay,
And then ask them a question because you want to start the conversation. Sorry, my
okay,
voice is going. So you want to make sure that you start a conversation through your engagement. Just engaging for the sake of engaging doesn't work.
right,
If you go out and do 5 posts a day and ask the person an intelligent question, so how does this work? I don't understand what you're saying. Have you ever thought of doing it this way?
right.
You know, enticing questions is going to force them to answer you.
That's
That is
really
where
interesting.
relationship starts.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, Andrew, if you have a relationship, you do ask each other questions.
yeah. Yeah, very interesting. And so that's about just don't engage with thanks for a great post, or the thumbs up
Yeah.
like or whatever. Get in there, and start digging more and ask curious questions. Um, Yuri says, met a guy who's bragging about 50,000 connections. What then? What do you do next after that? Where do you go from there?
There's a lot of vanity metrics in LinkedIn, like likes, shares, and comments. It's meaningless.
Yeah,
It's very nice to say I get 20,000 views on my posts and I get 1,000 people that liked it and commented on it. Did they buy from you?
Yeah, interesting. Well, as you said, the 17 touch points though, aren't there? They might not buy immediately for you,
Mm.
but Tilly, look, that's been really interesting. That very quickly, can we do this on our own? What's your advice? How do we invest in skills to do this, Tilly? You know, would people need to employ somebody like you, for example, Tilly?
My personal opinion, and this is going to be sound very biased, but it's
Yeah.
similar to me than creating a website. Will you create your own website? And will you do your own search engine optimization? There are certain aspects in LinkedIn that's very technical, and we just touched on the surface. But if you look at your profile and including keywords so that you can be found and setting things up in the right way, at the very least, I would advise to employ someone to set up your LinkedIn profile page and
Right.
group, and um, as a basis. It can be done very quickly, and you've got an optimized LinkedIn account that will attract your ideal client. Otherwise, it's trial and error, and you waste time. You're
Okay.
absolutely just wasting time.
Oh, well, we could go on forever. I mean, I would want to know about number of posts a day and all of those kind of things, but we're actually running kind of close to finishing here. So, 3 tips, Tilly. Quick three tips to to engage people on LinkedIn. Um,
You've got to optimize your LinkedIn account. You've got to have a profile page and group. You've got to
right,
have the complete structure. The second tip is you've got to write content for them.
right
You've got
content
to
for
write
them.
content that they want to hear, not what you want to do. And my third tip is you've got to be active.
Be
You've got to
active.
be on LinkedIn every single day. Um, uh, if you're not there and they can't see you, it's like leaving money on the table. You've got to be on LinkedIn every day.
I love that. I love that. And Saeed says here he's just been experimenting with putting emojis in his headline. What say you on that, Tilly?
I would say it no.
Yeah,
It's a professional platform.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
you want to keep your level of professionalism high up. If you're a thought leader and take it from a leadership point of view, are you going to engage with someone that has got an emoji, or are you going to go with someone that has a more professional approach?
Yeah, brilliant. Karen says 3 tips. Awesome. Brilliant. Thanks, Karen. So thanks, Tilly. That's been brilliant. So I hope you found this a useful topic. Further food for thought. I mean, I've said this to virtually every guest that I've had on so far. It sounds like there's space for a round two, folks. So lots to think on, says Ian Price. I think there is a round two here. And by the way, look, if you're seeking to know more about LinkedIn done for services, or LinkedIn coaching for your business and getting you started in terms of the profile page and setting that up properly for you, there's a thought for you. Then please contact Tilly directly. I'll put her link into the post directly after this. And if you're seeking help to build a high performance team, folks, then please contact me via my PDX website. Again, there'll be links down the bottom. And also, look, if you are an SME business owner who's finding it lonely at the top, and which business owner isn't these days, then please feel free to contact me about joining our Inspired CEOs community. And actually, Tilly's helping us with that as well. So links to that will all be in the description very shortly. Thank you. I set up Leaders Live really to explore high performance topics and interview people with a mindset and a passion to help businesses succeed in rapidly changing times. And and therefore, this is Leaders Live is all about tapping into the innate human superpower of I to the power of we. And I think we've certainly done that today. I think we've fulfilled that brief very nicely today. So I'll let you know what's happening next week. I'm still teeing that up. There's a holiday season at the moment, so look out for messages on what's happening next week. That's all for now, folks. It's a goodbye from me and a good day from Tilly. See you again next week.
Goodbye.
Cheers, Tilly.
Thank
Thank you.
you very much. Bye
Cheers,
bye.
everybody. See you again soon. Bye-bye.